We have so much LEGO Castle news to talk about in today's video, starting with the BrickLink Designer Program series. We also have a new one-piece LEGO Castle set to talk about, as well as the Shrek CMF minifigures and how they can be very well utilized for your LEGO Castle worlds. So all that and more in today's video right now. So this first article here says LEGO Castle fans already performing mental gymnastics over BrickLink Series 9 picks. Now, when BrickLink Designer Series 9 was announced, the entire community was kind of taken back by it. We all really thought that Driftwood Keep was going to win because of how popular it was, how much discussion there was around that on Reddit, on the Castle community Discord pages, and more. And then we were kind of hit with something different. So the LEGO Castle community is already performing elaborate mental gymnastics over the latest BrickLink Designer Program selections. And you know what? Fair enough. It says BrickLink revealed the 5 finalists that will go up for pre-order in Series 9 of the crowdfunding program. And while some sort of castle is usually a lock for each round, the closest thing we have this time is the Sleepy Dragon Inn. And it's closer in format and representation to something that you'd expect from a LEGO Dungeons & Dragons set rather than the LEGO Castle set. And here is the set itself. Now, this goes along perfectly, in my opinion, not with the Dungeons & Dragons set, but the Alchemist shop, the medieval blacksmith shop, because it has that very vibrant, like, in-your-face red roof, very poppy, very big in its architectural wise thing. What I'm saying is, the way that it's architecturally created is that you can't set this next to, let's say, Lion Knight's castle and it look proper next to it. The same thing can be said with the medieval blacksmith and the alchemist shop. You can't set those sets next to Lion Knight's castle and them scale properly. You can do that with the medieval town square, obviously, because they're made to go together. Those go together. Now, in that, those three go together. The Sleepy Dragon Inn, Alchemist Shop, and Medieval Blacksmith. They go together very well. And I'm kind of upset with myself that I didn't get the Medieval Blacksmith or the Alchemist Shop now, because one has a really bright blue roof, one has a really bright green roof, and now you're going to have one with a really bright red roof. For like the fantasy type aspect of it, it would look really cool to have all three on the shelf together. Look really, really cool. Now, I obviously like my Lion Knight's castle, and I like that scaling of things, but to have the three of these now together on a shelf will look really cool for people who have them. So this isn't the first time we've seen LEGO Group and BrickLink skip a traditional castle as Series 7, which is next to go up for pre-order. This was obviously an article a while back. The Alchemist Shop came out, and just click this here real quick to show you what it was. Here is the Alchemist Shop, just to refresh your memory. And you have that green here. And actually, they pre-made that Sleepy Dragon Inn set and showed you what it would look like for the Alchemist Shop. So when the Alchemist Shop went up for pre-order, they showed it alongside that Sleepy Dragon Inn set because they knew they go together so well, and they didn't want people to miss out because these BrickLink Designer Program sets don't stick around forever. So if you miss out, you miss out, unless they come back with the excess stock that they sometimes do, but that's neither here nor there. This is what I mean about the sets looking so good together. Like, look how amazing that presentation is together. Now, these two sets are final, right? This was an official LEGO Ideas set that came out a long while back. It kicked off the big castle theme again. And then we saw Linus Castle, Medieval Town Square, Forestman Hideout, Dragon, so on and so forth. This came out in the BrickLink Designer Program recently, and now this one's going to be. So just look at how the architecture is. You can tell in a way the designers made them kind of using each other as inspiration, and I really appreciate how that, even as far as this one has some vegetation on the roof, this one does as well. Like, just look at the vibrant color of this set. It looks so much better than this image. When you see it in real life, it looks so good. I think they'll look so good together. I'm really upset that I didn't get these two. So, I mean, if you know somebody that's got two, let me know. You know what I'm saying? But they look really cool. This probably isn't the final rendition of the set itself because we still have some time. They usually go through and change a couple of things. before they officially come out. Obviously, these minifigures will probably change up a bit. But yeah, man, I mean, it's really cool. Moving on in the article, though, it says that inevitability led to a swath of builds hooked to the Gryffin Knights and Kraken Warriors, discussing the new minifigures that had came out. And given the excitement among the LEGO Castle community around those builds, it felt equally inevitable that one of them would make the cut. It wasn't to be, and now those fans are convincing themselves that there must be a good reason for it. Here is that Driftwood keep set that really everyone was wanting and thought would come out. I'm not a big fan of the Kraken faction. Let me know what your favorite new Castle faction is. I'm assuming the majority of people's is the Gryffin Knights, which is that red one. The Horse Knights aren't bad either. But yeah, this is just some random stuff talking about, I'm guessing the pre-order of or release window for the series could potentially coincide with something castle themed coming out from LEGO, which could cannibalize these sets LEGO truly wants to sell more of. And that's just speaking to that. We know that that BrickLink won't pick a set in the BDP that will kind of coincide or clash with something LEGO has in the future. So take this set for example. Take the Wolfpack Forest Den set. We got this in a previous BDP. So when it got voted on and won and they picked it and they showed us that they picked it, that tells us something. That tells us that LEGO has no plans for a future Wolfpack set anytime soon. And we know that because the minifigure left on pick-a-brick. But if they had not picked it, we can infer that maybe there is a Wolfpack set on the horizon that LEGO's going to make, because LEGO and BrickLink are the same company. LEGO owns BrickLink, and Alex, the person who runs BrickLink, gets a list of LEGO sets, or when the sets get voted on and they say, okay, we want to make these 5 sets, they take those 5 sets to LEGO and say, can we make these? Is there a portfolio conflict of interest for LEGO, or can we make them? And LEGO will say, you can make these 4 sets, but don't make that set because we're going to make one that looks like that in the future, and we want to produce it. We don't want a fan to produce it. So pick the 6th best one. And that's how the BrickLink Designer Program works. So it's hard to tell, though, when they've not picked something because of that, because obviously we don't know all the info, and we shouldn't know because that's a secret thing. But like in this case, we were like, dang, everyone's voting for this, everyone's talking about it, and then they picked this. Like, we were all caught off guard. That makes us think, okay, are they making something Kraken, or are they making something Gryffin Castle? That's the only big thing that happened. So that is the news for the BrickLink Designer Series 9. Moving on, though, let's talk about Series 11, and it starts with this beautiful set right here, the Elven Citadel. Now, this is a castle set, to be honest with you, but it is also a fantasy set, because the fantasy sets in the castle sets are different in the BrickLink Designer Program, which is good for us because we can get one of each in a series and kind of double dip, because we're getting Horse Knights in this set. And just look how amazing the set looks. Looks like something that would be in like a Lord of the Rings set, and how vibrant this set is. Just going through the set itself here, you have the laboratory at the top of the set. Good interiors going on. Looks like some sort of cooking going up from like medicine, stuff like that he's got in here. You have the watchtower, a private garden, very cool, like a little princess balcony there. A stable and storage room down here. It looks like a little dungeony type area. Really like how this part goes around the staircase here and up the stairs and even over to this statue here. I love the one thing I love so much in a LEGO set is accessibility for minifigures. And that is something that LEGO did excellent for the Lion Knight's Castle, because even though in theory in the Lion Knight's Castle the minifigure couldn't fit through the staircase or through the particular door, it gives you the idea that there is a way for them to get there. And I just really appreciate that for some reason. I love it so much, and I know a lot of you do too. Over here, though, you have the main hall. Really cool looking table and stuff going on over here. Kind of like a futuristic-y Atlantis vibe I'm getting from it. And here is the underground bath area. Really, really cool. You can get a little boat build. But again, this might change in the future. It's going to only look better. They only ever look better. Got some nice trees over here. Very unique curved trees. Here's a very good looking angle from the other side. Just look at this. This just looks incredible. Looks like you can remove... So where's that at? That is there. You can remove that piece and you can get to that dungeon on the other side where it comes out right here. So on the back side of that, you can get through, and then you obviously have the waterfall. Pretty cool. Oops. Very vibrant again, like I said, beautiful. You even got some animals, nice vegetation down here. Obviously, they're using the horse knights. Who knows what it'll end up being by the time we get this set, though. It says, spin the leaf to open the cascade. Whoa. So it is kind of like magical type set. So you've got like a waterfall here. You can open it up by spinning that, and then the boat can go in and like dock or whatever. Really cool. But even though it's fantasy, you could so easily use this as like a very royal faction for your like classic castle set. And I love this up the stairs here to this. You could even like take this statue away, because it kind of like, that could be a dock, honestly. Because it's like, then you could go up the stairs to the castle itself. Very excellent. Very excellent. Just a couple different angles here. Oh, you even have like a crossbow mounted back there. So they are a military-esque type of castle faction. And here are some minifigures again. These will probably change. So obviously you can tell there is a lot of fantasy elements going on for the set. Just reading the description of it, comes in at 4,000 parts as well. Again, this is going to change. But it says, welcome to Elven Citadel. In distant lands, there lies an Elven Citadel built along a river. Rumor has it that life here is peaceful, and any traveler willing to explore this place will be warmly welcomed by the elves. The citadel is built as a bridge between two cliffs, allowing boats to pass underneath. Oh, so I love it when they give this type of lore and stuff. It just builds so much, like, is as trivial and as silly as that might sound. Just having the designer give you this, that it's built between two cliffs, and you can imagine that now, that there's two cliffs on both sides of this castle. It does something for the set. I don't know what, but it does something to me. Says the underground level is primarily dedicated to the storage and transit of goods, but it also houses an underground bath on the other side of the river. An elegant staircase provides direct access to an elevated private garden, which features lush plants and a beautiful fountain. On the left stands a watchtower that connects directly to the main tower and hall. The main building houses a large library with a balcony. So we didn't see the library, we saw the laboratory. While the tower features a music room and a laboratory. Music room, interesting. So there's stuff in the set we haven't even seen yet. So the design, as a passionate enthusiast of fantasy themes and following two previous designs in the same theme, I decided to create a completely new model that captures my vision of an Elven Citadel. Drawing inspiration from my imagination rather than existing references, I aimed to build an imposing yet elegant structure decorated with golden ornamentation. The model is modular, meaning each floor can be easily removed to access the interior. The set includes a secret feature that parts the waterfall at the back of the model, allowing boats to enter the citadel, and includes 8 minifigures and 13 stickers as of now. And here's just a closer look at the set itself. Spinning around there. I wonder if he'll show the interior. I'd like to see that music room in the library. Okay, so here's a closer look at the bathhouse. Very cool. Like, even the gargoyle type things there. Like, this is such a unique, like, such a, not even unique, it's such a not hard build to do, yet it just works so well. It's just like curved pieces in blue, and it looks so good. Like, this could be like, even like, I don't even know. Like a Roman type build. What are these two plants here in these pots? That's interesting. Okay, so this looks like... Okay, that's definitely the library. I'm trying to pause it because I don't want to flip to the next thing. or there's books there, but then there's books here. Maybe this is the music room? No, this is the music room. Okay. Okay, so you've got like a big thing where like someone plays that thing. I don't know what that's called, like a harp or something. Music notes here. I don't know what any of this stuff is. You guys might be able to tell me. And then here's the laboratory. I don't see. Oh, there is. Okay, so this right here, this is a ladder to get up to the top, which I love. You could easily have just packed this room with what you wanted and said, who cares, right? But the fact that that's in there so that the minifigure can, in theory, climb up the ladder and get to the laboratory at the top does something so nice because you had to leave this hole. A lot of people sometimes don't want to do that. I appreciate it so much when they do. Thank you very much for the accessibility in this set. And here is the feature that turns the waterfall and moves the boat out. I just, like, think about this. Like, this is way over there to the left. And that Technic, or whatever that is that's controlling that, has to run all the way over here to this side, kind of, to get that thing to part. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Really good job by the designer, Nicholas Carlier. Very good. But also, in Series 11, not only are we getting this fantasy set, but we are also getting a traditional castle-themed, classic castle-themed set, and it's coming in the form of Royal Nest by the designer TLG. Now, looking at the front here, you can obviously tell that this is a Gryffin faction castle. Some nice red. We haven't gotten a red castle in a long time. I can't even tell you the last time we got a red type of faction castle. I don't know who that would have been with the red accents, but this is a pretty generic-looking castle in the way that they're like, this tree here is not good. That's all going to be upgraded. This stuff's going to be upgraded for sure. But the techniques used on this to make this look curved, the techniques used on this to make this look curved and bricky built, like the bricks and the gaps in it, that's unique. That is very unique, and that is really cool. We got a skeleton up here, some griffins. And we'll just go through all the images here. Looks like, okay, so that's its extended form, just like Lioness Castle, and then you can fold it up into a nice, tighter form. And this is coming in at 3,000 pieces, so somewhere in the $300 to $350 price range. Some vegetation, like I said, this is probably all going to be changed because not to take away from the set itself, but that's pretty rough. Okay, so looks here like we have a courtyard, even with it being opened, and just those pieces open and close. So that's very cool and interesting. So like this stuff is just really generic-y, the tree generic-y, but that'll be fixed. That'll be fixed. Looks like we have a throne room, and see, here is the contrary to what I was just saying. Actually, maybe not. I'm just looking here when it folds. Huh. Okay, so looking at it the way it is, this is not accessible. In the open form, again, not accessible, not accessible, not accessible, not accessible. Nah. I don't know if that's accessible or not, but that's in the closed format. Lioness Castle had a couple rooms that weren't accessible when it was open, so I'll give it that. But use your mind's eye with me, okay? And close the setup. This room closes into this room. So these two rooms here are connected, right? The throne over here and the king's bed over here. Pretty tight, pretty small. He's got some loot up there that he's storing. And then out of that king's room, when it's folded, this piece is going to fold around to this right here. The king can then go through this door here. There's a door right there. And then they can walk down this staircase here. And then over here and out the door here. This piece will fold and perfectly, this arch right here will perfectly align with this here. And that is how you get to that room. This dungeon folds over to this and this, as well as this folds over to this. So the dungeon is accessible when it's closed. This will fold and be a part of the dining area. So the kitchen is going to be next to the dining area. Makes sense. This room here, I'm just looking here because I thought this was going to fold onto this. This is going to fold. So you have this gap here. This is going to match up perfectly with that. This part here is going to like match up to this. Am I wrong? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. It's hard to use your like mind's eye to like imagine what it looks like closed. I'll probably waste my time in another picture's gonna show it, but I just like seeing how it'll look closed, even though like you can't see it closed. I'm just weird that I like to know that like the rooms are connected and it's cool. But anyway, looks like an interesting room up there. There's the courtyard for the king to come out. Nice little railing there. And backside again. Needs some help, needs some work on this rock work and everything. This could use some work as well, it looks like, just to break it up a little bit less. I think it's like too many colors going on here. Like, too much is kind of going on. A little too much. I really like this set, though. I'm incredibly happy that we're getting a Gryffin Castle set, which tells us that we're probably not going to be getting a Gryffin Castle set in the near future, unfortunately. That's just how it is. Like I told you about the portfolio conflict of interest. If there was one that was going to be coming out, LEGO would probably not want this one to come out to cannibalize those sets because they want to make it themselves if they so have the interest in making it. A nice little waterfall, the idea of waterfall trickling out here out of the rock face. And here is a nice image of the minifigures themselves, a couple peasants from the Horse Knight Castle set, the Griffins, Serpent Knight from the Horse Knight Castle set as well, and the nice background of a silhouette of what the set looks like. I mean, not bad. It's not bad. But yeah, let's move down here to the description that the designer gave it. It says, high in the mountains, the royal nest stood silent under the moon. The archer stood watch on the bastion, scanning the road for the return of the king thereon of the Griffins, who was due back from his patrol at any moment. Why would the king be patrolling? Deep in a cavern beneath the castle's dining hall, far removed from the world above, lay an ancient skeleton. Most thought it was just a forgotten relic, but on moonlit nights, it was said to appear as a silent phantom on the castle's battlements. In the cold prison, the figure in black from the Snake faction knew the story was true, and he had good reason for his silence. So that's some crazy lore going on there. Kind of leaves a lot to be had. Says, welcome to the royal nest. The round bastions and decorated main gate, Gothic windows, the yellow half-timbered house, and plants and many other details make this castle a worthy home for the king of the Gryffin faction. It says it can be displayed either closed or in multiple open formats and in the open configurations. The interior becomes accessible. It includes a throne room, the king's bedroom, an attic with a treasure chest, a dining hall, a kitchen with a masonry oven, a blacksmith's forge with an anvil, a prison in the basement, and servants' quarters. All the doors are functional, though the one at the top of the staircase is blind. So that one that leads into that king's room that I said could go through is actually a fake one. It's not real. It doesn't open. 9 minifigures, with 8 of them being characters and 1 being skeletons, as well as some animals, including a horse, offering plenty of play opportunities. It says much more detailed Gothic window and additional greenery on the main tower. That was just after he updated it. So this was the Series 9 submission. He remade it in Series 10 and then remade it for Series 11, and it finally got passed. Comes in at 16 inches wide, 16 inches long, and 17.5 inches tall. It says the set is not based on any real building, but was inspired by some famous castles. I prefer the brick-built solutions to keep the flexibility of the used parts in further builds, so only one coat of arms sticker is used. And here is that little overview of the set itself, like we previously watched for the Elven Citadel. Looks pretty good. I wish some of these sets, I wish that we could see them IRL. you have to look at these sometimes so many times in these 3D renders, and that's okay, but it can only do so much. Because like, think about what we looked at for the Sleepy Dragon Inn. We're looking at it in 3D render, and then when I pulled up that image when it's next to the other sets, it's like it's a completely new set. It's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's so colorful, it's so bright, it's so perfect. It's like some of these sets you'd be like, eh, and then you saw it in person, you'd be like, dang, that does pop. That looks good. So you're probably gonna see it unfold. Let's see where that unfolds from. Yeah, so okay, so that bed is like part of the King's Throne bed, right? So when this closes, it's like half on this, so you could just like jump. The throne room can just like jump off down that staircase, if you know what I mean. Let's see it folded up here. And I could image it. These trees are... So there's some work to do on this set. Elven Citadel is very good. I like this set. I can't wait for this set. I assure you, I cannot wait for this set. I appreciate everything this set's doing, but it does need some work. But amazing work nonetheless. On this Royal Nest set, and these two sets, the Elven Citadel and the Royal Nest, will be coming out for crowdfunding on June 2027, so next year, and then be shipping in November 2027. The design will be shown of what this set's actually going to look like on May 3rd, about usually 1 month before it goes up for crowdfunding. So we'll see what the set's going to look like for sure, and all the refinalizations of the set itself. So we've got some good time still until it comes out. So I would save your money. Like I said, this set's probably going to run $350. Elven Citadel, a little more piece count, maybe upwards of 400. But yeah, that is it for the BrickLink portion of the news. Next up is the Battle at Drum Castle. I'm not going to spend too much time on the set because this is a one-piece set and it's $110, pretty steep. 1,000 pieces, pretty steep, but it is IP. You're paying for that IP tax for Netflix. Okay, so this is the castle. Anyways, regardless, this is the castle itself. Pretty small for minifigure scale, but it gives you some ideas. If you bought 2 of these things, that'd bring it like 210, 220. Maybe you'd be able to do something with it. That's cool for like a snow faction or something. We had that snow faction in the CMF series a long while back. I don't remember what series that was, like 13 or something, where we had that Viking with like the snow, or Viking woman or something like that with a snow shield. That was pretty cool. Anyways, looking at the back here, you can see a shield of some sorts that could be really cool for like a new purple faction, but a really cool looking throne chair there. Super cool. Really good, colorful interior. Like if you bought 2 of these and put them together, did something with them, I think you could come up with something really cool. Looks like some sort of fireplace down here. And again, this is from the One Piece anime show. Looks like you can even unfold it there to make some sort of weird looking courtyard area. Again, this is pretty rough. This isn't like cool and big looking. You would have to do a lot of work to make it work. But obviously you got some minifigures here. If you're not a One Piece fan, you could sell these things and probably make a good bit of money back because they're rare minifigures that people want to get instead of paying for the set itself. But one of the minifigures that you could utilize is this guy right here. Look at his armor and stuff like that. First of all, the cape could be used for a cool king, snow king of some kind for castle faction. I don't know what the torso, if you could utilize that, but really cool, really unique. I thought it was interesting because it's called the castle. Thought it was something maybe a couple of you might be interested in, might have overlooked, but yes, that is the Battle at Drum Castle set. Next up, I want to take a look at these Shrek CMF minifigures and how they can be utilized for the castle theme. Now, here is the Shrek one. These are coming out on September 1st, I believe, but usually they come out like a couple days before, so I wouldn't dilly-dally. If you want these, I would constantly be monitoring the LEGO store. Sometimes they're on the end of the aisles, sometimes they're coming in the boxes. You just have to just keep an eye out for them. But this is the Shrek CMF that you can get. Not looking at anything other than the torsos here. That can obviously be utilized for a peasant type person. The back, the front, very possible to utilize them. And looking at the legs, you can obviously use those legs for a peasant type character as well. So you can definitely utilize this Shrek guy. Moving on to Fiona. Now Fiona, her bottom can obviously be used for a princess of some sort, as well as her torso. Maybe if you didn't mind the green. I don't know how bad that looks if you put a yellow minifigure head on her. Just imagine that's some sort of green tunic underneath, I guess. I don't know. It won't be the best looking, but it's really cool, very princess vibes if that was yellow. But like I said, that can be utilized if you so want to. Moving on to Merlin. Now Merlin, he can be used in fantasy type themes. Even you could even pick. I just had this amazing idea. So the Elven Citadel is coming out. Blue and gold. Look at him. Blue and gold. Imagine just getting a bunch of these characters, obviously not switching up the face and the beard, but getting a bunch of these guys as like magic people and using their torsos and the legs. Like, look at the leg printing. Get off here. Look at that. Look at this leg printing, dude. That's insane. And the hat, not bad, not bad. Definitely can be used for castle or fantasy theme. Moving on to Lord Farquaad, you can definitely use this guy for something. Obviously, give him bigger legs, but the arm printing on this guy is so good. Even maybe for pirates. And then you can use the hat for something, whatever. But definitely could use those arms for things. Really cool for him. Next is Fairy Godmother. Now, we kind of run into a problem because most of our LEGO Castle factions are using yellow skin tones, right? Because that's the classic look of them. You're going to have to use actual peach colored skin tones if you want to use her torso. Obviously, you can switch out the hands very easily, but like I said, that torso, and some of you may use typical peach colored skin tone for your castle faction. Let me know if you do, because I like the look of both, honestly, but I just lean towards yellow because it is what it is. That's what I have the most of, so that's what I use. But you obviously use this for a really cool looking princess, even a really unique little tile there. I think that's one of the cards that says like, I'm only ever a teardrop away or something like that. And even a cool little wand there. Really cool, unique hairpiece. Even a cool face. Like, this whole character is really cool. Take off the wings. Really cool character. Really like it. But that is the Fairy Godmother. And then moving on to Prince Charming. This one is the probably best one for us as Castle fans. Can't even remove this stupid thing. Because there's no skin tone showing. You're going to say switch off the legs. Headpiece, you can switch to whatever you want or keep it. Really cool legs, just really cool looking, and the leg arm printing really good as well. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there an old classic castle shield? I know there wasn't a faction, but was there a shield that used something like that? A club or spade or whatever, like as on the shield? I might be mistaken, but again, I just thought of this again. That goes along perfectly with that Citadel. Elven Citadel, blue and gold. Get a bunch of them. There you go, new faction. So that's really cool. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today. Nice, big, long castle news video for you. A bunch of news has been coming out, rolling out. LEGO has really unveiled a lot in that big email file that got leaked. You can go watch my YouTube videos. I discussed that even on live stream. You can watch replays of the live streams. I'm going to be putting up some of those where you can just watch it like as a podcast. But yeah, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. That's going to do it for today. Got some pirate videos coming up, some more castle videos coming up, so subscribe if you're new here. Thank you for watching, and be sure to like, and just yeah, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel all the way to the end of this big, long 40-minute video. I really appreciate it. But that's going to do it for today, so I will see you in the next one.